is nothing, anything short of that. It doesn't really qualifies or, you know, or meant to be what public service delivery supposed to do or supposed to give to the people. It's like, just like I said, is just in a very simple way, we are talking about effective service delivery to the people, and that's exactly what the assignment or the constitutional responsibility of government, be it at national, subnational, states, and also at the grassroots, which is the local government level.
I like that you said selfless.
Yes.
So now when we look at the current state of the public service in both at the national, state and local government, do you think it meets global standard? Does it meet global standard of excellence?
If we are talking about meeting global standard, that means we are going too far away.
We're going too far.
You know, Nigeria at the moment.
So where are we right now?
We must be honest with ourselves, and we must say it the way it is. Of course, it's work in progress. Even in most developed society, they will tell you that they have not reached the El Dorado. You know, it's like they keep improving on what is on ground. And that is because they have a system that works. But in our own environment, we don't really, we are trying to build a system. And instead of us to build a system, we build more of people. And that's why we are not really making a headway. We focus more on building personalities. We focus more on politicians taking control of every other sectors of our life, rather than we building the system. It is a system that works. We all travel sometimes abroad, UK, US, you know, Dubai and the likes, and we are so delighted with the public utilities infrastructure on the ground. It's not rocket science. I know we can get there, but that's why I said when we are talking about global best practice or global best standard, we can't even go there for now. We can't go, and that's the truth. All our leaders, ask them questions. When they go abroad, do they comply with rules and regulations? Do they comply with law and order? But here back in the country, we see the way they behave. On the road, sometimes they almost even throw into the water, throw into the, you know, when they are blowing their siren for whatever reason that is, you know, pertinent to them. You don't see that, you know, in a civilized society. It's only here in our country. So, in terms of public utility, and that's why it's so convenient for them. I'm not really against them traveling abroad, but what I also want them to do as a second leg of they have been exposed to all this infrastructure is to come back here and do something, if not very similar. Let me just start from somewhere. And that's exactly what we have also started seeing in Lagos. The blue rail, the rail line, the green line and the likes. You know, that's what we call public service, and that's what we call selfless service.
So you said something that we're dwelling more on building the people than building structure. So at what point did we get here, and how do we come out of this mess that we have found ourselves in? Well,
the bottom line is our founding fathers, how come you still talk today about people like late Chief Obafemi Awolowo?
Oh.
How come that we still make reference today to about Alhaji Lateef Jakonde? How come we still talk about these are people who render selfless service? Yes, these are people, we still make reference to them, despite the fact that they are no more. People still talk about Jakonde homes. Some people call it whatever they like, but people still live there at the moment. You know, even if not for late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, it was the one that brought free education to the Western region. And it was also duplicated across in the state in the Western region. I also benefited, you know, in small way during the Lateef Jakonde, you know, free education in the states. Can we say that of our country today, at the states, at the national? Don't even go to local government. At the states where the money is, at the national where the money is, do we receive free medical care? Do we receive free, even at the state level? They will tell you, oh, we are offering free education, we are offering free medical service. You still get to the hospital, and they're asking you for money. They're asking you to pay for things that we not even cut your throats. So, like I said, it is work in progress. And how we can really change the narrative is for us to change our mindset. We have a problem with our mindset. I don't know why people continue to want to accumulate all this primitive accumulation. What you don't need. Why are you gathering so much of wealth in the midst of people around you that are suffering, that are living under the bridge? You see people, when you walk out, when you drive on the road, you see people, some of them are not that they are mentally derailed, but because of the nature, they went into depression because of the nature of our economic hardship. So our leaders, they must change the narrative. Nobody will be buried with a penny. When we came with nothing. And on our returns, how many of them have returned that they were buried with whether their gold wristwatch or with their duplexes or with their, whatever they call their limousines? No! We met them in this world and we will surely leave them back in this world. So if you can change our mentality, change our mindset that you are there, that mandate given to you is for you to make people happy. And by our Constitution, Section 14, says the essence of government is for the welfare of the citizen, is to protect lives and property of the citizens. We know what is going on in some part of our country today, the Benue killings, the Plateau killings, and the likes. So are we saying that we are really seeing the dividend of democracy? I think we need to change the narrative. And by doing that, we also need to change our mindset that if you're in the position of authority, you are there for the benefit of those who have given you the mandate. And in the long run, whether we like it or not, we make a return back to where we came from. And on the day of judgment, we all will ask questions. How did you govern your people? The wealth of the people within, under your custody, how well did you utilize such for the benefit and welfare of the people? Those are the questions that they won't ask you how much of limousines did you gather when you are in Lagos, or when you are in Nigeria, when you are in Oyo State or Ogun State. God will not ask you that question. The question will be the mandate given to you, the response. We call it amana in Islam. God will ask you, how well did you treat your people? How well did you know, we just have to change our mindset. And that's exactly how we got to where we are. And it's not a rocket science. It's not difficult for us to at least to make a reverse.
But these public servants, let's call them public servants, because you are coming to serve. When they are being appointed, they take an oath, using the Holy Book. And they swear or take an oath to serve the people. So, so is it that it's just a ritual? And
that's why some people are even, canvassing that instead of using the Bible or the Quran, that why don't you even make use of maybe Shango, Abi, Ogun, or something like that, But when you are taking hold of office, they will ask you, are you a Christian or you are a Muslim? I don't think I've ever seen any one of them that will say, no, I'm an atheist or I'm a paganist, or don't let me use the Bible, or don't let me use the Quran. All of them, all of us, as the case may be, we hide under either Christianity or Islam. But in the long run, do we also relate with our people the way this religion has even asked us to do? Do we only answer Islam and Christianity by our name? We don't really preach what those holy books, we don't really practice, rather, what those holy books, what they preach. We don't practice them. If we practice what the Bible says, to the latter, if we also practice what the Quran says, there is no need for us to have poverty riding us to the face, in our country at this moment of our nationhood.
We're still talking about effective public service system, and we can say that the engine room of the public service system is the public service, yes, and you have people working, behind the scenes. So if you look at the current state of public servants, do you think they're adequately trained to meet today's governance need?
Well, sincerely, I don't think there's anything, let's start from the president. What the president can only do well if he has a team. Start with the federal cabinet, the Federal Executive Council. And we also have the head of the ministries. We call them the permanent secretaries. And below the line, we have the directors, and the likes, and the small cadre. So, if you don't have a very professional civil service structure, it will be difficult for you to want to excel in whatever endeavor. So when you see any governor doing well, just like you can say for Lagos, there are samples, there are signs. And even my own back home in my own state, or your state, Governor Seyi Makinde is doing well. Yes, if you go to your state now, if you are not careful, you also miss your road. But in Lagos, where we reside, we can see a lot of dividends, development across board. But the governor can also do more. So when you have a very professional civil service structure that are also committed and that are also encouraged, there is no way they won't give you the best of their capability. But in a case when your civil service or your civil servant, as the case may be, are not being treated well, definitely you may find it difficult to get the best out of them. For example, the new minimum wage. How many states of the Federation have been able to comply with this new minimum wage? I'm not sure it's up to about 20. Since the president signed this into law, I'm sure it's getting to more than a year or thereabouts now. How many of our states? So if those civil servants in those states are not giving out their best, you can't hold them responsible. You can't blame them for it. Because that's why I don't know how to translate it in English. That if you encourage your people or your workers, definitely you will get the best out of them. In the last, since we had this new administration under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the federal allocation, I think they just released the one for March, and the figure is around 1.4 trillion naira or thereabout. While President Buhari was living, I think the highest shared then in 2023 thereabouts, before the president came in, I think the high was around close to 1 trillion, maybe 900 billion naira plus. 800 billion naira plus. But now we have crossed the threshold of trillion. We don't talk about billions now. We're talking about trillions, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. And states are getting more money now. The local government too, unfortunately, because of the governors are still not giving them that opportunity across board, they are yet to start receiving their money directly. Despite the landmark Supreme Court ruling of about 9 months ago, that gave them financial autonomy to local government. But we are yet to see that in place. Let's even focus more on the governors of the state. They are getting more money now. Are they also using those money judiciously to the benefit of the people of their state? But we are very quick to say, oh, President Tinubu has not done well. President Tinubu, but the president can do less. Where we all reside is local government. Where we all reside is state. We should focus more on our local government and hold more accountable of our governors. We should ask them, the money they are collecting is up to like about double or like 3 times what they were collecting before. We need to ask them questions. They need to render account to us. How are they utilizing this one? Rather than we focus more on the federal government, we should rather look more, in what goes on around our state and even the local government where we reside.
Okay, so if we'll narrow it down to Lagos, because this is where we reside, how do you rate the activities of the government in ensuring that the public servants in the state are properly taken care of?
Well, I think that should start, like I said earlier, which I also like to reiterate. We know we have a new minimum wage in place, 70,000 naira thereabouts. If we need to start from there, has it been implemented in the states? I want to believe so, yes, that this has been implemented in Lagos State.
Lagos is even paying higher.
It's even paying higher. I think around maybe 85 or thereabouts, in Lagos State. Of course, you can expect rather less from the civil service structure or civil servants that have been mobilized, that have been encouraged, if indeed it has been implemented to the latter in the state. So I'm not surprising all these, development across board, of course, in Lagos State, because the essence of governance, I want to also reiterate, is selfless service to the people. There was a time we had a governor that called himself a servant of the people, but we don't see that in practice in the states. He said, I think he's selfless, a servant of the people, he call himself, a governor of the state during, I think, when we returned to democratic rule in 1999 to about 2007. But we don't see that in practice in that state. So the essence of effective public service delivery will surely reflect on the welfare of the people. If it doesn't reflect, that means in that state or in that country, as the case may be, it's not doing well. When people can't go to the hospital and get treatment accordingly, when people can't go to the hospital and get have the drugs given to them, even if it's going to be on a subsidized level, it shouldn't be at a cut, throat cutting, to the pocket of those attending hospital.
But in Lagos, it's different because we still have the Ilera Eco.
I know Ilera Eco, of course, Ilera Eco is doing well under Lashma, or is doing well, except we also need more enlightenment because many people are also not aware of it. I'm aware because of the nature of my work, nature of my job. I'm aware, and I've even registered. And Lashma is doing well sincerely.
All right, so we're still talking about the public service system here in Lagos. Technology is one thing that has come to make life easy. How well do you think that the public service is maximizing technology to boost productivity?
Well, we are in the age of the century of artificial intelligence. They call it AI. And I do hear some slogans, particularly on radio, because of my nature, that if you are not on that pedestal of artificial intelligence, or if you don't have your business, on internet or on social media, that means that business is likely to, die a natural death. So that is also applicable to governance. You can see the red line, the rail line, the green line. This is technology. This is AI. This is AI in place in Lagos State. And, when I see sometimes when I'm driving towards Marina or CMS, and I see that, the blue color, I'm so delighted, I'm so glad that some people are also making use of it. So this has also reduced the time they spend on the road. It has also removed traffic bottleneck, the traffic logjam, that has cost many their job. You know how much we lose on a yearly basis to traffic bottleneck. So for those people in that axis, definitely that matter or that crisis or that issue has been resolved to a very large extent. So for any state, rather, particularly we are talking about Lagos, to do well, there is no way that we want to sweep under the carpet the essence or the importance of technology and also artificial intelligence.
Let's talk about the role of the media now in ensuring effective public services.
Well, the media has a very crucial role to play, because as we call the media, the fourth estate of the realm, and it's part of our own corporate social responsibility to keep tab of what government is doing. We serve as the watchdog of the society, and we also set the agenda for the society. So in that regard, the media must also, number one, the ethics of the profession is you deliver the truth to the people. You don't be at the vanguard of pushing out false stories, fake news, or propaganda, as the case may be. So our responsibility is to educate, inform, and enlighten the society, particularly as regards government policies and programs. And in a case where government is also not doing well, we also call the government attention to it. And most times we are very quick at pointing accusing fingers to government, but even we as citizens of the state, we also have a responsibility to ensure that we also work pari passu with government in delivering this dividend of democracy to the people. So when we have a case to talk to government, we go all out and talk to government. And when we also need, like now, rain is forthcoming, and we have been alerted by NIMET that some states, including Lagos, are going to witness a lot of flooding this year. Now is the time for the media to keep telling residents of the state that if you see something, please say something. Those who have cultivated the habit of dumping their refuse whenever they see that rain is coming, we should not keep them. We should raise alarm, because in the long run, when there is flood, it won't just affect those people alone, but everybody, whether you know about it or not, you will be affected. So something like that, we must create awareness, particularly the media, and also collaborate with government in telling people that this is the way to also dispose your refuse, so that at least by the time rain comes, we won't have much of this flooding. This is time for us to also, you know, increase the enlightenment as regard clearing our drainage, the silt, our canals, and the like, so that at least when the rain comes, of course, whether we like it or not, the rain will surely come. But we can't hold the rain, but we can minimize the damage that it can cause by ensuring that we dredge the canal, we desilt our drains, our drainages, and we stop the habit of also dumping our refuse indiscriminately across the metropolis.
I was going to ask you the responsibilities of citizens, but you have already, you know, touched on that. So if you were to suggest some reforms that will enable a seamless, effective public service system, what would it be?
Well, for effective public service system, number one, training is very, very important, because there is no job that you do that you can't know it all once and for all. And that's why I said everything that we do is work in progress. No matter how good you are on the job, if you have been on that job for 5 years, for 6 years, or even close to a decade, 10 years, without refreshing courses, without refreshing your memory, that means what you have learned in the past years is what you still continue to do to engage yourself within the work. So we need regular refresher courses, we need regular training for civil service or civil servant, as the case may be. That's number one. Secondly, we must also ensure that we provide conducive environments. And that's why you can get the best, and that's why sometimes the private sector also do well in that regard. It's not too demanding for even the government of Lagos State to say maybe one free meal for my civil servant on a daily basis. For me, it's not too much, because the money is there, isn't it? It's not too much. So if you make your civil servant or your civil service structure, as the case may be, if you make them convenient, definitely they will be more productive. Do we understand? So, and in the long run, it will be to the advantage of the governor of the state. It will be advantage to the government of that state. If you make your civil service to be productive, if you encourage them, and number one, for you to do that, like I said earlier, is are they paying that new minimum wage? I know Lagos, the Governor Sanwo-Olu was talking about, I think around 85,000 or thereabout. If that is being implemented, definitely I see no reason why the civil service or the civil servant, as the case may be, will not give their best. But you can do further by ensuring that you give them regular training. They're very important. You also provide conducive environment for them to work. Sometimes when you think about the nature of the environment of your office, it is either you are quick to say, I want to get to the office, or you are reluctant in getting to the office. Do you understand? Because if the environment where you work is not conducive, of course you will be reluctant. You will go to that work, because at the end of the day, you're expected to also be paid your salary. But if it's not conducive, reluctantly you will go to work, reluctantly you will engage in your responsibility. But if the reverse is the case, it's the other way around, conducive environment, you have coffee break, definitely. I know of one of the government agency, I think I'm talking about 15, 20 years ago, thereabout, is even very close to the governor's office here. We used to go there, have a coffee break, very conducive environment. One of the governor's agencies in Lagos State. But that is no longer the case at the moment. So government needs to make a conducive environment for the civil service to get the best out of them. And again, you don't deny them the leave. Leave is so you can't all work and no play. Make Jack a dull ball, or how do they used to call it? There must be a time for your civil service or servant, as the case may be, to also go and break. You can't be a Jackie working from morning till 9. There must be a time that you also need to go for break, maybe your annual leave. When you are going on leave, your allowance must not be denied. And then there are other, welfare package that government can put in place, like a free transportation. Maybe you are coming to work, there are government vehicles to take you to work and also bring. These are things that ordinarily, if they are provided, as a civil servant, you will be encouraged to want to give your best for that job that I've been assigned to do.
Oh, thank you so much, Taiwo Olopade, for sharing your for sharing insightful ideas about effective public service system here in Lagos. And we must say that Lagos State government is really doing well.
Definitely.
In terms of
but they can do more.
They can, of course.
The money
like
is
Oliver
there.
Twist.
The money is there.
More.
The governor, I'm sure the governor is watching. He can do more.
All right.
He's doing well, but he can do more.
Yeah, we're glad we have a listening governor. Thank you so much for your time on the conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.
The program continues after this. Stay with us.
The views expressed on this program do not represent that of the producer, management of Lagos Television, or the Lagos State government. They remain the perspectives of those expressing them. Thank you for staying with Lagos Television.